Bound for Glory is over. Finally. And I gotta say, I've been having a problem trying to make this video because I want to get exactly what I want to say out. But every time I do, I get frustrated. So let's see if I can get it done this time. Look, I see Bound for Glory as the best show of any promotion for the year. And this is going to be something to take. Particularly, we used to have Crown Jewel, Evolution, what is it, Survivor Series, and TLC left. As far as I've seen the schedule that's on the wiki, that's what they got left. And I believe this show destroys any show that's going to be produced. That's how good it was. Even though it was modest and the production value was not perfect, it is a better show than you ever see. And I'm sure I'm going to hear maybe a few people say, what about NXT? We haven't seen, what is it, War Games 3 or whatever is coming next. And it's coming soon. No. No. I thought about this carefully. I really thought about this. I've been 100% resistant watching NXT. And I've been wondering why. I've been fighting so hard against NXT. And I thought maybe it was due to the fact that there's a lot more on my plate than I thought I can handle. With going to my doctors and going through the pain of getting physical therapy and chiropractor because of my injury. Doing the wrestling reviews. And definitely with Raw being such a frustration to the point where I stopped it. And now I'm actually considering SmackDown and stopping it because it's frustrating me. Thinking of going to Reality of Wrestling, Booker T's promotion. You guys heard me say it before. So I thought along with that and learning how to animate that I want to actually create a show with computer animation. And I'm trying to get that ready by the end of the year. I thought that was just too much for me to watch NXT. And probably part of it is. But then I thought, what is the major reason that's really turning me off? And I finally saw. I finally realized it. Ember Moon. Ember Moon. Ty Dillinger, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, AJ Styles particularly, Samoa Joe. Every person that came up or is from the outside has been treated like shit. I know AJ Styles did not go through NXT, but shouldn't he be headlining pay-per-views? He doesn't. Shouldn't Samoa Joe have won in that match that he had? He didn't. What is going on with Kevin Owens? Nothing. What is going on with Ember Moon? One of the most shining lights they got right now that's so unique. Nothing. Look at Asuka. Nothing. The only one that's doing anything from NXT. Well, I take that back. 2. Roman Reigns and Charlotte. The 2 darlings of the WWE where they buried everybody else. So I realized NXT is a joke. Because who cares about watching them once they get to the main roster? They're nothing. So when I look at this, compared to Impact's pay-per-views, it's meaningless. No matter how great of a show they put on, it still means one thing. Johnny Gargano is going to the main roster and being nothing. Tommaso Ciampa. Nothing. Velveteen Dream, nothing. So I realized that this show, a company who still is a question if they'll make it next year and not have the same problems, produce a show and content where there's very little controversy or frustration. In other words, at least they listen to the fans. Production value may not be great, but at least it's better than what you normally get. I just ranted my ass off. I'm so sorry. I may have to put a timestamp here for this, how far this goes. Okay, let's get into the show. We got something I wasn't able to see fully, but we got Rich Swann and Willie Mack versus Ethan Page and Matt Sydal. Oh, I'm sorry. If you start hearing cars and motorcycles, they like to go crazy on Sunday and Saturday, so I'm sorry. But I only saw part of the match, and oh my goodness, Willie Mack, that dude can fly. You guys know I'm not a big high-flying wrestling fan. I'm not. He does some good groundwork, at least what little I saw, but he is an extremely high flyer for his size. That was impressive. The faces won. And then one of the major problems happened with the show. The production truck screwed up and showed a few seconds of the previous Impact. That was this Thursday. That was bad. That was bad. Someone said, oh shit, we just fucked up. Then the second mistake that I saw, that was when Willie Mack wanted to talk and the mics were not running because the transmitter that was connected to the speakers was not running either. Because as far as I understand, the mics, or wireless mics, are supposed to receive and send information to a receiver that connects to the speaker so the speakers will work. And my guess is the speaker's receiver was not functioning. And it took them a few seconds for it to work. But he spoke well, and I do hope Willie Mack actually goes to the roster. I think he's got charisma. This guy's got charisma. Now, if you look at Ethan Page, he looks good. But I just don't know about his character. I don't know about his personality yet. But with the little I saw of the personality of Willie Mack, he just outshines. I'm sorry. He outshines Rich Swann. Rich Swann. He outshines him. I think he outshines some of the roster on the company. He's got something. The question is, will he actually be signed? Next, we got Eli Drake and his New York Open Challenge. I didn't know who he was going to do the Open Challenge with. I was curious. Who would it be? He's in my face. What the blue fuck is James Ellsworth doing there? Oh my gosh. Now, I'm not saying James is going to be working for Impact Wrestling, but it was a surprise. And look what happened. No one gave a blue hell about him. They cared about Eli Drake. Eli Drake, he's in my face. Eli Drake. They cared about Eli Drake. And he said, you're not from New York. And he said, yeah, but I don't like no one badmouth in New York. And after he said a little bit, he waxed Eli Drake in the face. And that's after he said he wants to challenge him. And the match was okay. It wasn't perfect, but it was okay. And the crowd was behind Eli. They wanted him to destroy him so bad, which he did with not one but two gravy trains. And that comes for the Great Provoker. And that's not... I forgot the rest of it. Oh, it was lovely. But then Eli wanted more. He wanted somebody else. And who came out? The Hall of Famer Abyss comes out. Now, I was kind of surprised they didn't let Abyss talk. Now, I have not seen the Hall of Fame ceremony. I will be seeing it after I edit this video and upload it, because I want to see the Hall of Fame and how he spoke. But I would have thought he would say something. But going with his character, he's not really a very spoken person. I think in actuality, the real person that is Abyss is pretty much a humble guy, as far as I understand. I could be wrong, you guys can tell me below. But in the end, Abyss destroys Eli Drake with a black hole slam and a table for his trouble. Mind you, I don't like seeing Eli Drake get used in this manner, but this was a rare occasion that the Abyss comes out and he does some business and then he leaves quietly limping. That made me worried that the Abyss was limping. He was limping when he went in, and he was limping when he went out, I think. I know he was limping when he was out, but when he came in, I wasn't sure. You guys can tell me below. But he looked like he was limping, period. So I don't know. You guys tell me below. Next, we got the match I do not agree with, but the match was good. Well, I don't mean I don't agree with the match even happening. I just don't agree with the ending. Now, that's Taya Valkyrie versus Tessa Blanchard. The video package for both women, well, Taya's video package was better. No, not Taya. Tessa's video package was better than Taya Valkyrie. The outside shot in interview with McKenzie was actually very good. Now, I'm not a big fan of Tessa talking. I think she still needs some work. Like, I've said this before. There are very few things Tessa needs to work on, and they're important. Knowing how to work a crowd deciding to sell, and in this case, working a little bit more on her mic work. Now, I'm not saying she's totally bad. She just feels like she needs a little bit more work. The same work you need to work a crowd can also be the same work you need to work the mic. And she's lacking. So I do believe with time she'll earn that moniker of doing great mic work. And working the crowd is just that in this case she wasn't that good. Taya's, well, let me put it like this. It was short, it was simple, and it kind of looked like it was a little botchy. Because as she was talking, there was another voice talking over that, and that messed up the entire video package. They should have made sure that her voice was not overlapping another segment of that video package, and it just didn't come out very well. Doesn't mean it wasn't effective, it just didn't come out very well. The match itself, damn good. Taya worked well with Tessa. I do believe Tessa and Taya actually have very good chemistry. They do. They're both power wrestlers. And in this case, Taya and Tessa are also very good with agility. It was an exceptionally good women's match. Knockout match. But here's the thing. And I know people are going to say, oh, you just did this because you don't like Tessa Blanchard. No. I told you I don't hate Tessa. I believe there was something off about her. And a part of me still does feel that. But I am loosening up at least enough to see that she can get stuff done. And that even though there is something still missing and something is wrong, she always seems to work with good people. But in this case, working with Taya Valkyrie, where the match was very good, the problem was that Taya should have won. You know why? It's simple. And it comes down to one thing. What now? What now for Tessa Blanchard? Nothing. The only people that's on the roster, if Taya Valkyrie stays, is Taya, is Kira, is Allie. 4 women. And we've already seen Tessa go through, well, I know there's Su Yung. But because of what's going on with Allie, she's not involved right now. She's working with Allie. I doubt she's going to be dealing with Tessa much. So it's basically 3 women that she basically has to work with. And we've already seen her go through everybody else. It would have been better to have a fresh face for the World Knockouts title. And it would have been better for Taya to win it. Because then, if Tessa loses, she's going to have to chase someone. So at least you can say she's going to have to go through, yes, she'll have to go through Kira again. And she got to go through Allie again. And maybe she'll go through Su Yung again. But at least it'll be her going through people instead of there being no one for her to go through, period. Yes, she has to repeat some matches from people she's already gone through. But at least with Taya Valkyrie at the top, we haven't seen Taya go up against, Allie much. We haven't seen Taya go up against Kira Hogan much. Hell, we barely seen her go up against Su Yung maybe once. And that would help. The knockouts need more. It would have been better that way. Now, Moose and... this is where things get very, very interesting. Moose versus Eddie Edwards. Now, what the hell was Moose wearing? What was that? It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with wearing African clothing with glasses. I'm not having a problem with it. I personally wouldn't wear it. Not saying because, well, I'm not African, I don't know nothing. I'm part black. And if I want to wear something that a black man pitch darker than me would wear, I don't give a damn if anyone looks at me like I'm an idiot. I'm part black. I'm going to wear whatever the hell I want. But he just looked out of place. He was dressed as a pimp, as a Mac Daddy. And he went from being a Mac Daddy to the thing in my face. If I got a picture of him with Mackenzie, I hope I did. And he was hitting on Mackenzie. That's a woman I wouldn't mind having. Because Taya is taken right now. And as far as I know, Kira is taken as well. So, if Mackenzie's not taken, give me Mackenzie. But anyway, seeing him dressed like that was just strange. But anyway, was the match effective? There was no match. You got him pretty much, well, let's put it in this respect. He got help from Killer Kross in the audience. Killer Kross came in, put I forgot what he calls that, basically his sleeper onto Eddie Edwards that beat the crap out of him, and then you got Tommy coming out pretty much saying, you think you're going to get away with here in New York? Oh, hell no, we're not ending it like that. Come on, let's go. And then they had pretty much like a hardcore match. It wasn't announced as a hardcore match, but it pretty much was one. And it was pretty good. I'm not going to say it was perfect and was one of the best I've ever seen, but it was pretty good for what it was. And the ones that shined the most was Moose and Eddie. They made that match. Those damn chops. Eddie was giving to Moose and Moose was giving to Eddie. Even though we've seen it more than a few times, it's still gruesome and wonderful. It is something that gets people cheering. In the end, the faces win. Which, it's not that bad, I don't believe. Let me make sure I'm not forgetting anything. It wasn't that bad that the faces won. But what now? That's going to be a question. Particularly what happened at the end of the show. So, guys, tell me below what's going to happen between Eddie and Moose. How far are they going to go with this? Would they do a steel cage? Do you think they should? I think a Monsters Ball match would actually be interesting for both of them. Not with Abyss, but for them, a Monsters Ball match would actually be interesting for an Eddie and a Moose. But that's just me. Now, the six-man tag of OVE and Sammy versus the Lucha Brothers and Brian Cage, the Machine, the Swolverine. This was damn good. And the best thing about how they booked this show and how they booked this match particularly, they took into account storylines. At least to a certain extent, storylines. Now, even though Tessa Blanchard winning, I believe wasn't the wisest thing to do. It was understandable they did it, but I don't agree with it. Here, the way they booked it, of course, OVE was the dominant force in a sense that they had to win because the Lucha Brothers gotten over on them and also Brian Cage has gotten over on them. And Brian Cage took a lot of abuse. That man took a huge amount of abuse and the rest of them were taking heavy abuse. It was lovely. And Phoenix, I had a kind of critique with Phoenix because he has not performed well at certain times, but he did well here. I was very happy with his performance along with Pentagon Jr. And when it came down to the end, when it came to Phoenix being out of the ring, Pentagon Jr. out of the ring, there was only Brian Cage left. The super duper Swolverine showed how dominant he was. He went into that ring telling people to do doing the Terminator clap. Reason I'm botching here because they did it so well to protect him, but then showed how dominant he was and still lose. It's something I've not seen in so long. I was taken back. Oh shit! This was so well mapped out and well executed. They made sure that Brian Cage was still dominant. It took 3 freaking guys to beat his ass. They had to kick him in the face at least 10 times. In the chest or the face. Then he had to get pile drived at least once. Then he had to be suplexed. Then he had to be everything else under the sun before Sami Callihan could win over him. And that's great. This is Brian Cage's actual first loss. Without any outside interference. And it's done well enough to protect him, but still leave the mystique of him being a Terminator. And I'm sure a lot of people would say, oh, that's bullshit. They went too far with Brian Cage. He's supposed to be 100% dominant. He's gone through practically anyone one-on-one. It has to take 3 guys to kick his ass to the extent that OVE and Sammy had to do it. It made perfect sense to book it that way. And I agree with it. It was so well executed. I loved it. See him laying that ring and the ref checked him. I hope the ref said, you did great, good, good. That was wonderful. Because he deserved to hear that praise. That's what I hope they say in the back. Now, let's see. LAX versus the OGs. Now, this is another match. I do not agree with the ending. But the story was done so well executed. It made sense how the ending had to happen. I do not agree with it, but I understand why they did it. Now, at one point, Conan was eliminated. He had basically trolleys thrown on top of him, make him look like he got his ass kicked by King and the others. And King, who did such King's promo work and mic work has improved tremendously. I'm botching here because I think he's a very good talker now. He may not be the best talker in the company, but within the top 3, he's one of the, he is, no, top 4. I take that back. He's 4th best. He is. You got Austin Aries. You got now King. You got the Great Kovorka and the Eli Drake. And who is the last one? I forgot who the last person was, who's such a damn good talker. Pretty much, I would say Tommy Dreamer is the best talker also. But with these 4, they're the best talkers in that company when they're there. And now King is one of them. Dude, it was beautiful. And I know I could say Conan. I know a lot of people say, what about Conan? Conan's from the previous generation. He's always been a good talker. But we're talking about someone now. And King is it. So when they came out to the ring and being a, what is it? What do they call it? A concrete street death match. Street fight death match, if that's what it was. I'm going, alright, yeah, they're going to do this. But then when they stripped out the padding, the ring skirt, the ring apron, the ring turnbuckles, it was just bare everything. I said, okay, I get behind this. This is how a real fight should be. And then with the wood exposed and the wooden planks, unlike the WWE, which they use wood, what is it? They use planks. No, they don't use planks. They use, what do they use? I forgot what they use. They use like, gypsum or just long pieces of wood. That's it. They at least did boards. That was beautiful. It emphasized how dangerous that ring was. I don't know if they decided to do it at the last minute or that is how the ring actually is. Because plywood, that was what the WWE's used. I'm so sorry, I forgot. Plywood is what they use. Long rows of plywood instead of what they did with wooden planks. That was awesome. It made it so clear how dangerous that ring was because the planks kept moving. Seeing that at one point, I thought King might have hurt himself. Honestly, I thought King might have hurt himself when he dived outside the ring and hit his face on the, what is it, the guardrail, keeping everyone separate from the ring. I thought he might have smashed his face in, but he was fine. Lady went into the ring, they started fighting. Basically, this was a great street fight. Every part of the area was utilized. You got Hernandez cutting his head open in the very beginnings of it. You got Homicide literally being thrown at Ortiz and Santana. And the ones who shine here, which I do believe, they deserve all the praise, is Ortiz and Santana. They busted their ass in this match. We don't have to worry about Homicide and Hernandez. We know how good they are when they're really on their game. But when it comes to Ortiz and Santana, the younger, new wrestlers that's in the business, even if they've been in there for 8 to 10 years, they're still young in the business. They have now made their mark, as far as I'm concerned. The only problem I see with these two, because they're not allowed to talk and do promo segments other than the ones that are in the back, it really takes away from what they could truly accomplish. But in the end, how did this match end? You finally got that. I'll put it to you like this. Once King got back into the ring, you got Conan finally coming out. The guy can't go anymore. It's obvious he cannot go. The guy is way too out of shape and in no condition to do it. So they had to wait until the end to let him in. And he went in with some type of billiard ball in a sock, started whacking the crap out of people, and in the end, they gave him, and I'm talking about King, a good send-off. And when it was all over, they covered his ass up. They were the ones victorious. But what did they actually gain? Yeah, they gained their respect. They gained a victory over the bad guys who basically hurt a kid and disrespected them. But to be honest, and if they continue this feud after this, in the next Impact, it would have been better if the OGs had won. Honestly, the OGs should have won. Because if this feud is not over by a long shot, and the OGs may try to get the titles, it would have been better if they won this. It would have been better if they won this, because it would have helped them later in the months when they do the next tapings to make them feel still credible. Unless the OGs are gone, they're disbanded, they're finished, and then each of them, if Homicide and Hernandez are going to wrestle by themselves without King, and King is going to wrestle by himself, that would be understandable. They're breaking them up. But if they're still going after LAX, they should have won. It would make better sense to continue the feud and to make it easier for them to get the titles from LAX. But that's just me. Now, the segment of Allie. This was really good. Allie going into the underworld, undead realm. I'll probably say the underworld, so sorry. The undead realm. Look, I have not been fond of Allie for the last couple of months because she's been botching and she seems like she doesn't care. I don't know what's been going on with her. But when it came to this, I was okay with it. Her going into the underworld or the undead realm, meeting the undead brides with a freaking hatchet in her hand, mind you, and when she had to stop them, she chopped them up with fake blood, but still it was pretty cool. Oh my gosh. When Father Mitchell, before she went in and started killing the undead brides and Su Yung herself, Father Mitchell told her, do not touch the merchandise. In other words, your soul's there. You have no right to take it with you. You have no right to claim it. You want your friend? You can't do it. But guess what? After chopping up the first or the second undead bride, she found herself. And she was stupid enough to touch her. Now, I don't think I have a shot of that, so I can't do it. But you can see her undead self there in my face. Once she found Su Yung and Kiera Hogan in the chapel because Father Mitchell had told her that, you had the final fight between good versus evil, where Su Yung had a big freaking axe compared to her small hatchet. In the end, you got Allie driving it into her neck and leaving her for dead, running to get Kiera, getting out of there, and then heading to the other coffin to try and get back. And Father Mitchell reaches her and says, oh, is there a problem? He said, we can't open it up. What's going on? And he said, you don't remember the fine print? I told you I would get you into the undead realm. I never said I'd get you out. And that just, oh, that was nice. That was nice. And he's laughing his head off. And then Su Yung comes from the back, pulls the hatchet out from her neck, heading towards them. And they believe once the other undead brides come, they're dead. But guess who opens up the casket, the coffin, the dead place? That is Rosemary. Oh, I've missed Rosemary. She's a sexy piece of you-know-what. And she basically kicks the ass of everyone there and uses super Sith powers from the Return of the Jedi, not The Last Jedi. The Last Jedi is shit. I don't care what anybody says. I didn't like The Last Jedi. It was shit. It was disrespectful to Luke freaking Skywalker. But anyway, she's using the same powers that the Emperor used to push back the evil Su Yung and telling them, leave. And Allie refuses to leave. She didn't want to leave her. In the end, she had no choice. Kiera pulls down the coffin. They escape. And as they're just getting out of the coffin, and Allie wants to go and get Rosemary, Kira's telling her, no, you can't do it. Don't worry, she'll be all right. And then she says, I need to get her. In a deep-ass voice that is, of course, changed by a computer program. I thought it was going to be Kira. And I think it would have been better if it was Kira. But as Allie turning dark, honestly, I can't say it's a bad decision. As the story goes, it actually is pretty good. But the problem I have personally is because Allie has been shit for months. And I don't believe it's a storyline. Allie has not been wrestling very well. She may do her talking alright. But when it comes to wrestling, she's been shit. She has turned me off because of such bad botchy wrestling that could have hurt. And understand, she could have easily hurt Tessa Blanchard. And I think she might have a little bit, but nothing serious. Su Yung, even Taya Valkyrie. She has wrestled so badly that I just don't feel comfortable with her getting in the ring anymore. So for me personally, wrestling, I don't want to see her. But I understand why they did this with the storyline. And I think it would have been better if Kira Hogan had turned dark. Maybe she still will, but to be honest, she probably won't. That's just me. Now, finally, we have the final match of the night. That is Austin Aries versus Johnny. Now, since I have not seen the Hall of Fame ceremony with Abyss, I didn't know what exactly happened with the fight. And since I'm not on Twitter, yes, I'm not on Twitter. I'm not a big social media guy, and that's making it hard for me because if I am going to start another show on another channel on YouTube, I've got to get used to being on Twitter. You guys give me an idea what I need to do for Twitter because I don't have an account yet. I'm going to make one. But what happened supposedly on Twitter where there was some type of interaction between, an actual interaction between Austin and Johnny and pretty much Taya being disrespected. It kind of went with the story. Now, it could be a work. It could be a shoot. I don't know. At least at that time. Before I saw the match. But by the time the match happened, dude, it felt like it was a shoot that actually happened. Because the way those two were wrestling, they generally don't like each other. And the way that Johnny was punching Austin really looked real. They weren't holding any real punches. The way that Austin was grabbing Johnny's head and was not just trying to do some type of wrestling move or just trying to make it more theatrical. He was legitimately trying to hurt him. He even grabbed him on his elbow pad at one point just to piss him off because he actually hurt his arm at one point like a couple of weeks ago. It was real at one point. Now, maybe it isn't work, but it looked so real, their attitude and animosity toward each other. It worked. The crowd was going ape shit for this match. Yes, there was a lull a couple of times in the match. There was. But without Killer Cross interfering or Money Moose, or Moose Money, Money Moose, I don't care, and Taya being at ringside, nobody interfered with the match. It was such a great match. And I'm not going to describe everything. You can see whatever I've been able to grab because it was not easy grabbing those things. It was fast-paced and very smash mouth. But by the end of it, you got Austin Aries deciding to try and dive outside the ring. Now, either he missed Johnny because there was kind of a mess up on the stream. So I missed it. But it looked like Austin was going to go and dive at Johnny, and he missed, and he dived at Taya and took her freaking out. And Johnny was pretty pissed. Now, he wasn't as pissed as he should, because I think at that point, that was a work. But in the end, Johnny now wins the world title. Gets the title, holds it up, goes outside, gets Taya, bring her into the ring, and she's proud of him. And then they cut there. What did I think of this show? It was a great show. It easily outstrips the last 4 pay-per-views the WWE have put on. Easily. It outstrips 4 pay-per-views that WWE has put on. Now, will it strip the other 4 that's going to end what's going on? There's a very good chance it will. I think Bound for Glory took out the last 4 pay-per-views that the WWE has produced. And I don't even remember them anymore because I don't care. And when it comes to Crown Jewel, when it comes to Evolution for the women, when it comes to Survivor Series and TLC, it's going to outstrip them. Look, Taya and Tessa Blanchard put on such a great match that yes, Evolution is going to have good matches. But at least there's a story with this one. And I'm probably not going to give a damn about Evolution because none of the women I even cared about. This I cared about. Taya I cared about. Tessa I cared about. And you know I see Tessa having problems. But at least I know Tessa is something. This was a real pay-per-view. It was good. You can easily see every match over again and not be bored. Even the opening match, I'm sure you will like. The rest of the matches, you will love it. I believe this was the best show of the year. But this is just me. You guys tell me below. Have a good day. Have a good night.